All right, take two. What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here. Welcome back to another morning after show where we have to delve even deeper and dissect even more the shit show which was last night. This is your second to last morning after show of the season, as we lost 2-1 to Aston Villa at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which could potentially end up being Harry Kane's last outing as a Tottenham Hotspur player at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which was, you know, a shit show from pretty much start to finish, barring 5-10 minutes where we looked like we played well in the first few minutes when we did get our goal. But, you know, it was a shit show, not even just on the pitch, but off the pitch as well, with the whole, well, to be honest, it was on the pitch, but with the whole Tannoy announcement, and you know, we'll get into all of that. But the way we're going to work, structure this stream, as always, we're going to firstly get into Ryan Mason's press conference, 4-5 minute post-match press conference last night, where we're going to react to him batting away questions for 5 minutes about Harry Kane, pretty much. You know, the next game. I wonder what he's going to say after the Leicester game. Is it still going to be the next game?
The next game. Next team. I'm just focused on the first game next season. I'm not going to be here, but
he'll start talking about the under-18s. Oh, I'm just focused on the under-18s now.
Exactly. There's a few other things that I want to discuss as well. We'll go through the Supporters Trust made a statement today about their meeting, how it went on Tuesday. So we'll get into that, and also if we have time, maybe we'll play our little cameo on Sky Sports News if we can get a little clip of that, because we were on Sky Sports News earlier this morning about 9 a.m. talking about Harry Kane and his potential departure from Spurs. So maybe we'll look at that as well. And The Athletic put out an article this week saying Tottenham have shortened their shortlist to 4 managers.
Didn't Romano say yesterday or 2 days ago that it's 3 managers?
Or The Athletic is saying it's 4 today.
Who do we believe?
Don't know.
Who do you reckon is more reliable, Athletic or Romano? Probably Romano, right?
When it comes to Spurs, though, usually Romano's got a few things wrong, hasn't he? He said Reguilon wasn't joining. He said Reguilon was going to United, and then Ornstein wasn't it? Who from The Athletic said Reguilon was going to Spurs.
Was all set to go to United until we came in. And then Reguilon, I mean, United didn't want to do the deal, did they, with an option to buy back? But look, I don't know. Anyway, I think that the most reliable is Alistair Gold, isn't it?
That's definitely true. But look, we'll look at what Jack Pickbrook has to say on the manager situation.
Yeah, for sure.
And we'll move forward from there.
All right. Well, if you're new around here, do smash that subscribe button, smash that like button. We've got 280 people watching with us this morning, only 26 likes. So everyone scroll down, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and let's get into Ryan Mason's press conference from last night.
All right.
Hey there, Ryan. Can I ask you what you made of not only the performance today, but also the reaction from the fans after the game?
So the performance, listen, I thought we started well. Started bright, scored a good goal. Felt fully in control of the match. And then obviously an unfortunate situation, give them a goal, which is difficult. And I think as well, the second goal we give them as well. So we've given 2 goals in a Premier League match, and listen, it's very difficult when you give a solid team 2 goals. We started well. We had some moments early on in the second half also where, listen, you probably need to take them for the whole momentum, the whole feeling of the game. We didn't. So obviously very, very disappointed with how this evening's panned out.
Can I just ask you about the fans as well? Because obviously, I think yesterday, no, it wasn't yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. Sorry, you said that you didn't think there was such a kind of a disconnect with the fans, but obviously you got this tonight. Has it surprised you?
And listen, we've just lost the game of football. It's an emotional game. Our fans care. I care. So I have no problem with fans being disappointed. They've come here to support us. They wanted us to win. We didn't do that. I feel very disappointed that we didn't do that. So they're emotional. There's nothing wrong with that. That's normal in this game. It shows they care.
Okay, Jim Conlon.
The owners or anything like that. So yeah, people are saying muted. I don't know. Sorry, one sec.
What is going on?
Hello? 1 second, guys. Are we muted? Hello? Hello? Hey, it's working. It's working.
Yeah, it was just moved on the press conference.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, well, you can hear us now. Look, he's never going to say anything against the board or anything like that. He's always going to be grateful, and look, Ryan Mason isn't one to start, causing a fuss, is he? Let's be honest. So, of course, there's a disconnect. It's obvious for everyone to see, and but we even saw from ourselves from the protest, like it's not maybe the disconnect or the frustration isn't as big as we think from amongst the whole fan base. To be honest,
yeah. Look, I completely agree with that, but he's basically saying the fan base is reactionary after losing a game and wanting ENIC out, but that's just nowhere near the case.
No, it's definitely not reactionary. It's definitely something that's been building for a while, and you got to take into account the Super League as well and everything that happened, and there's still a lot of anger, and this is the first time. You've got to remember this is the first time as well. Fans are back in the stadium since that all happened, so obviously we're going to make our voices heard, and we're going to send a message to the board that what they tried to do was unacceptable, and I think that's fair. But what he said as well when he said, when talking about performance, he goes, we gave them 2 goals. It's always difficult when you give a team 2 goals in a Premier League match. But it's like that's what we've been doing all season, isn't it? It's just literally a lot of people blame Mourinho for that. We make one mistake and it costs us. Whereas if we play more attacking, it wouldn't be the case. But it's the same thing, isn't it? It's exactly the same as going on.
From what he said just before about we were in control of the game until that mistake happened with Reguilon.
It happened like 20 minutes in.
Yeah. But he's right. We were in control for the first 10, 15 minutes, but then after that, it just went to complete shit. And
to be honest,
I think it was after we scored. I
remember what you were saying when watching the game. Like, we scored after just under 10 minutes, and then pretty much since we scored, I remember we were saying Villa are dominating now. And yeah, the goal we gave it to them was a ridiculous own goal. But it was a culmination of them dominating the ball for about another 5 minutes.
The goal was coming, really, when they scored, wasn't it?
It's hard to say where it was coming, but because it was not, I wouldn't say like they created loads of chances or anything. But I would definitely say they'll definitely say they were on top for sure when they scored. They were definitely on top, that's for sure. So who knows what would happen if Reguilon doesn't slice it, but all we know is they were definitely on top, and it wasn't a surprise when they did score.
But again, it's like this thing that's been happening all season, all last season. One negative thing to happen in the game and you just fall completely flat on your asses.
Exactly. So that's been the story of Spurs for the past couple of years. All right, let's carry on.
Hi, Ryan. In terms of that result there tonight, obviously it's a blow in terms of European qualification. We all know the magnitude of Tottenham Hotspur and how big of a club it is. For Tottenham, if they don't make Europe this year? Will that be seen as a major disaster?
Look, we've got another game at the weekend, so I've said all along, I'm not really going to answer hypothetical questions and if this happens, if that happens. We're disappointed. We're disappointed not only with tonight, but also how the season's gone as well, because it's not where we want to be. That's no secret. We've said that. Everyone's said that. It's been a disappointing campaign, but we have to try and get a positive result of the weekend and see what happens from there.
John Cross.
May as well play a Ryan Mason press conference.
Ryan, could I just ask you about Harry Kane?
Honestly, he just says the same thing every time. All right,
it's obviously a big night for him. At the end of the game, he seemed to sort of kind of do a lap of the pitch, which you might perceive as some sort of farewell. I don't know, but the way the fans responded to him, the way that he responded to the fans, what did you make of that? What did you think of that overall?
Yes, normal. I think if anyone's been at the last home game of the season, while Harry Kane has played for this football club, he's been pretty consistent in going around the pitch, clapping the fans and getting a good reception. So nothing's changed from the last home game this season to home games in previous seasons. So that's normal.
Okay. John Veal.
I think that's right as well. I actually said that last night when he was walking around. I think that when fans are in the stadium, more times than not, he does do that after a game, walk around the stadium.
Not usually by himself.
Even by himself, I promise you, he does. I've noticed it even like when I've been going to games that Harry Kane always comes over to the fans and claps the fans.
I don't.
And at home games, he always walks around the stadium as well to clap the fans. But there was just something in his face last night that seemed a bit different. Mm-hmm. That's what it was, in my opinion.
I've got a super chat here from Roshan Me says, feel bad for Ryan. It's like Levy had nothing else to throw, so he threw the kid under the train.
and back on Kane for a second, like I genuinely think Kane in his mind probably thinks he's going this summer, but I think he's got another thing coming.
Levy has other ideas.
Yeah, I think Levy's got other ideas.
Mm-hmm, I agree. And I don't think it's going to be as simple as Kane wants to leave, so he's off. But look, I'm just worried we could be in for a long summer with this whole saga.
Yeah, and this one's going to rumble on until the dying embers of the transfer window.
Yeah, really well.
I genuinely think he's going to start pre-season at Tottenham, and I think he's even going to start the season at Tottenham next season. And we'll see how it plays out to the end of the window, because the window runs into the season, doesn't it?
I don't know if he starts to see if he's going to be here. If he starts the season at Tottenham, I don't think we'll sell him. I can't see us selling him if we start.
We've done it. We did it with Bale. We did it.
Did he even play though? Did he? He was kept out of the squad.
Did he play first game?
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
Didn't play anything.
But he was still at. I'm not saying he's going to play or anything, but I think he'll still be a Tottenham Hotspur player at the start of the season.
I think that'd be a mistake.
Probably.
It would be a mistake.
Probably.
Did
the same with Berbatov.
Yep.
Who else did we do the same with?
Also didn't play.
We've done the same with a lot of players, and this is just the way this guy likes to do his business.
And I think if we're going to sell him as soon as possible. But if we're not going to sell him, then yeah, you can't, because it ruins our transfer plans if we keep him.
When we sold Bell, we got the players in and then announced Bell gone, didn't we?
We did. But again, I remember, I don't know if you remember, like at that time, everyone was, because we were signing these players and then Bell was still at the club. And I remember everyone was saying that it's very possible Spurs could...
Do you not remember what Lamella said when he first signed?
He's like, you can't wait to play with Bale or something. I can't remember that. I slightly remember that. But I remember a lot of, even journalists were saying that even though Spurs are making a lot of signings, it doesn't necessarily mean that Bale was 100% going, because Spurs have spent so little in the past two windows that they can afford to keep they can afford to sign these players and keep Bale if they really wanted to. And I remember a lot of fans were getting excited by that. But obviously it was clear that Bale was always going to go. But it's funny when you think about that kind of argument, because Spurs spent so little in the past two windows, and what's changed? Nothing's changed.
Yeah. To be fair, in the last two windows, especially the one before that, we broke our transfer record twice, wasn't it? With Giovanni and Lo Celso.
Well, we broke it with Ndombele.
I mean, Ndombele and Lo Celso.
Once, because we broke it with him because we signed him Nobelli before Lo Celso.
Right, so Lo Celso actually sealed the deal in that January, didn't he?
Yeah.
For 55 million or whatever it was.
Well, we spent 14 million on a loan deal and then 27 on the transfer.
Right.
Something like that, apparently. That's what
Super chat from Darren Cook, but no message. But thank you very much.
£5 super chat. Thanks, Darren.
Love the support. So thank you very much for that. But let's keep going on.
All right, let's keep going.
Hi, Ryan. Obviously, the build-up to this game has been heavily dominated by Harry. Do you think that made it, had an impact on the side performance at all?
No, I don't think so. Listen, if we started off the game terribly and was 2-0 down after 10 minutes, maybe you could argue that, but we didn't. We were 1-0 up inside 10 minutes. We were playing well. We was in control of the game. So, no, I really don't believe that. We're professionals. We're paid to do a job. The players were fully focused on this match. And like I say, it's really disappointing that we've lost this game tonight. The hope and expectation was to come here and win. We haven't done that. Our fans are disappointed. The players are. And I'm sure everyone at home is as well.
Okay, guys, there's no more hands, so we'll finish there. Thank you very much.
Great press conference as always.
That's it.
Great press conference. If you do want us to react to anything, do send it in a tweet or send it in a super chat and we will read it out and react to it. Yeah. What shall we get on to next?
1 sec. I'm just going to put it in the chat.
But yeah, I mean, these press conferences, I'm so happy we've only got 2 left to sit through, seriously. Because there's just same after same after same. It's just so tedious and boring now. I got a super chat here from Darren Cook saying, if Kane wins the Euros with England, does he stay at Spurs? Would that be enough for him? No chance whatsoever. The guy wants to win the top honours in domestic football. He wants to be winning the Premier League. He wants to be winning the Champions League. He wants to be going for the big honours. You know what I mean? 1 Euros with England is not going to be enough to him at all.
It'll definitely help, but
it won't be enough. Nowhere near enough.
No, it won't be enough. There's he wants to be. He doesn't want a one-off summer where he's winning a trophy. He wants to be doing it every single year,
and that's what he deserves.
Mm-hmm. And he's the kind of character. He has that mentality where every game he goes into, he thinks he's going to score. He's going to do something in this game. He every single game he gives his absolute all, 100%. And he has that killer mentality about him. And every year he wants to be fighting for a trophy. He don't want to be winning something every 3-4 years. He wants to be challenging at the top every single year, every day.
Yeah, and he looks around himself, around the dressing room that he's in. And, you know, there's very few players that you can say that you can hold in similar regard to him. Who can you hold in similar regard in terms of mentality?
No one.
Maybe Heung-min Son, Højbjerg, even them.
I feel like with Kane, he wants to challenge himself every day in training. He wants to get better. He wants to challenge himself. He wants to take himself to a new level. And I feel like if he's at a better club like a Man City or whatever, where it's like that every day, then he will even become a better player at these clubs, I think. But at Spurs, he kind of has to hold the standard and he has to hold himself up. He has to motivate himself because no one else is doing it for him in a way, because everyone else is kind of clearly taking it easy, not really caring as much as he does about where Spurs are and where we finish and stuff. So, I completely understand that, and I understand why he's desperate to leave.
A tweet has just come in from Bob Spur. Do you want to read it out?
Has it? Bob Spur says,
I think that Levy, he's got to act in the best...
Muted, someone said.
He's got to act in the best interests of this football club. Is it muted? Doesn't look like it's muted.
Hello?
Okay. Look, I think Daniel Levy has to act within the best interests of this football club. So if Harry Kane if Harry Kane...
Let me just read that out again because I think maybe people didn't get it. It says, Bob Spur TV says, I know it's an emotional opinion, but if Kane wants to go, is it right that we should hold him to ransom? We know even if kept against his will, he'll still give 100%, but it just doesn't sit right with me. Big up to you, legends.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think that... I think that Daniel Levy has to act within the best interests of the football club. Whatever he's done in the past, whatever he's going to do in the future, whatever it is, you need to act within the best interests of the football club. And in terms of Harry Kane, you can't just let him go willy-nilly. You know, you need to get the right fee for him. You need to get as much as possible.
Yeah, but say someone's willing to spend 130 million and you're holding out for 150. Is it right that we prevent him leaving for an extra 20 million?
Yes, I think it is. Again, you got to act within the best interests of the football club. You have to bring in as much money as you can possibly from a player like Harry Kane.
But haven't we?
A world-class talent, a generational talent.
Isn't that what we've criticised Levy for in the past in terms of hanging on to a player for too long to squeeze an extra few million out of
There's
it?
a difference between a few million and like 20, 30 million. I think that you're dealing with a large sum of money here. You're not dealing with, buying Jack Grealish for 15 million or 20 million. You know what I mean? This is a serious sum of money here. 150 million pounds we're talking about. So, look, I think that if Levy doesn't get what he wants this summer, Tottenham hold all the cards, right? I don't think that's holding... I guess it is kind of holding someone to ransom, but ultimately he's going to let him go eventually. I think it's either going to be this summer or next summer. But I think you've already seen, since Ryan Mason has come here, Harry Kane hasn't been on top of his game. He hasn't. That's a complete fact. And I don't know what that's to do with. I don't think he's going to permanently or like down tools on purpose, but I think it happens subconsciously sometimes with these players. I think you saw that with Eriksen. I don't think Eriksen came out and down tools on purpose. I think it's something that sits in the back of your mind thinking, look, I don't want to be here. And the players around me, you get negative feelings on the football pitch. And I think that is kind of what's happening with Harry Kane. So what do you do? It's an impossible thing to tell because, he's not going to accept anything less than, I don't think, 140, 150 million this summer. I genuinely believe that. And I think that next summer, with another season of Harry Kane, even a Harry Kane at 50, 60% is probably better than anyone we got right now.
Exactly. But, yeah, it's true. But, I don't know. I feel like, depends how desperate he is to leave. Like, I'm sure he's pretty desperate. But if he's really, if he really is going to start kicking up a fuss, then I think something around 120 million. I don't think he will kick up a fuss, though. Yeah, I'm just saying if he is, then I think 120 million. I think that would be the figure for me. I think that'll be the bare minimum I would accept.
I think 120 million with 3 years left on his contract is too low, in my opinion. I think it's way too low.
Well, you say that, but for a 28-year-old, Griezmann went to Barcelona not so long ago for 100 million. Who was it? Hazard, at 28 years old, went to Real Madrid for 100 million. So for I know he has 3 years left, but for a 28-year-old who's had who has, except for this season, the past couple of seasons before that, has had a couple of injury problems. You would say maybe 120 million might be a fair price for him.
I don't think so. I don't think you can compare Harry Kane to those two players that you mentioned. I think Harry Kane levels above those players.
Hazard and Griezmann at their best.
Yeah, I do.
I don't.
Why not? Harry Kane, his goal return says it all.
He's one of the top strikers, but Hazard at Chelsea is one of the top wingers. You would say he got Player of the Year, I think, twice. I think, and he's one that he's dragged into Premier Leagues before. I wouldn't say. I think Kane is better than Hazard, but I wouldn't say Kane is a level above Hazard.
I would say Kane is a level above Hazard. You can see the goal return. You can see the influence that he has on the team. Hazard, he's had off seasons. Kane hasn't really had an off season since he's come to the top. Hazard, in my opinion. Look, you can see how it's turned out at Real Madrid, but in my opinion, Hazard, for the quality that he has, I don't think he reached he has on the one-off seasons here and there, but I think consistently throughout his whole time at Chelsea, I believe he should have done a lot better than he did.
Yeah, fine. But then also you've got to consider that in this market, the prices have dropped for players, hasn't it? So maybe if we're selling Kane a couple years ago, 150 million, I think people would snap at the chance of signing for 150 million. But I think now it's very difficult to see anyone stumping up that figure. And I think United very nearly went to 100 million for Sancho in the summer, but ultimately decided against it.
Mm-hmm.
Whether anyone's going to push even to 120 this summer is even difficult to see, let alone 150.
Agreed.
So it's very, very difficult to see anyone coming up with anything. I don't think anyone's going to come close to 150. I think if anything, if anyone's going to come in for, it'll be 120. That's what I think. And I think we're going to have to think very long and hard whether to take it or not. I really do. I don't think 120 is a figure that we'll just immediately dismiss. I really don't.
I think it will be. I think it will be because I think the way Daniel Levy will be looking at it is that why would I accept 120 million this summer when you're going to have potentially a whole year without a pandemic? Hopefully money and transfer windows are going to come back by next summer. You don't know that for sure, obviously, but I think that's the way he's going to be thinking, that hopefully it will come back, where he can squeeze another year out of Harry Kane and get probably the same price this following summer.
You can probably get 120 million the following summer. That's true, but whether it all depends on Kane, I guess. It all depends on Kane. Whether if he's going to keep his standards up, then yeah, it's probably worth keeping him for another year and forcing him to stay. But if he is going to be a bit off it for another year, then it's better to just, I guess it's better to just sell him and then and then just start the rebuild as soon as possible. It's going to be very difficult to see how things play out. So many different directions it could go. Tunuma Talukda says, from an Arsenal fan, even though we might finish above you, but for both of our teams, this has been very poor season with even West Ham finishing above us.
Yeah,
that we can both agree on.
Spurs and Arsenal are just in complete disarray, aren't they, at the moment?
Absolutely.
Both as bad as each other.
Yeah, it's awful.
It's
at
a
the
sad
moment.
state of affairs when, the last, since we've started to be a good team, we've been fighting them in the top 4, top 5, whatever, and now we're fighting for top 8. 8th or 9th, pretty much, where we're going to finish this season. It's an absolute joke. Any more tweets have come through?
Yeah, Tottenham till they kill me says, Daniel Levy has to keep Kane and back him. Bring in the best possible manager. Bring in Rangnick as director of football. Invest some money. We get a big window this summer and spend well thanks to a director of football and a world-class manager. Maybe there's potential success next season. I don't know. It's going to be difficult, even if Kane stays, to have a seriously good season next season, because there's going to be a new manager, new ideas. It's going to take time for him to develop. So I don't know. I think Spurs are in for a big rebuild, and I don't think even if Kane stays, I can't see next season being a massive improvement. I have to wait and see. And then Kian Devitt says Daniel Levy is watching that performance and is doing nothing about it. We need to hope that in the summer Levy finally wakes up and gets rid of people who don't want to be at this club and rebuilds from there. Well, if he says get rid of people who don't want to be at this club, then isn't that Harry Kane involved in that?
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, look, it's a really hard situation, isn't it? I mean, we all hold Harry Kane so close to our hearts. It's going to be so hard to see him turn out against us in the 100%. Premier League, especially. It really is, and it's depressing times at Tottenham. It really is.
We should put a clause in the deal that he can't play against Spurs. That's the only way.
The only way we could do that is we'd give him like a glorified loan spell, like exactly. A 5-year loan or something.
5-year loan. Oh man, it's going to be so depressing. Neil Meta says, is this the lowest you've ever felt as a Spurs fan? I personally am exhausted with this every week. There is no passion when we play, no energy, no creativity, same shit every day.
I mean, it feels a bit like the Tim Sherwood era right now. That's what it feels like, because I remember at the Tim Sherwood era, I was very disillusioned with life at Tottenham Hotspur. I mean, I found it hard going to games. I found it hard concentrating through games as well, just because the games were just so boring. Well, sometimes anyway. And it feels like that now. It really feels like that now.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
If not worse.
And John Hearnshaw says, let Kane go. He's done us a good service and we could use the money to rebuild as long as Levy doesn't turn around and say he paid off the loan with it. We have come back from selling our best players before, and we will again.
Yeah, look, I completely agree with that. But you have to get the right deal. You can't just sell him to whatever deal comes in. You know what I mean? You have to get the right money for him, and the right money that that a player like Kane could command.
Yeah, we can't. No, of course we have to get the right money. Jordan says, why are fans not more vocal given the situation the club is in right now? If fans think this season is bad, they could be in for a hell of a shock next season, especially if Kane goes in the summer. Yeah, it depends how you reinvest it, but I 100% agree. It could be a very, very difficult season for us, especially if we sign a young striker who might have to settle in a bit. I don't know. It's going to be very, very difficult. It's very difficult to see anyone coming in right now and help like making an instant impact, especially with what Kane gives us. He gives us things you can't buy, and there's no player who we can buy that will be able to replace how much Kane cares about the club, how much passion he has, and and the leader he is. Like you can't replace that with money, so it's going to be very difficult.
Do you think there's any chance that Kane goes to a Manchester City, or Kane goes to a Manchester United, or Kane goes somewhere and it just doesn't work out for him?
No chance.
Like a Robbie Keane when he went to Liverpool.
No chance.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Kane is going to absolutely smash it out wherever he goes, and I'm 100% sure on that. Yeah. What's this? Someone tweeted us in. This is from Paul O'Keefe, he gets snippets from the club, doesn't he, Paul O'Keefe? He usually gets the lineups the day before. He always gets snippets. He says, Kane will be worth 100 million next summer. No reason to sell this summer for 50 million difference when you'd have to spend all that replacing him. Also, your best chance of getting Champions League football is with him. The maths doesn't work. It's that simple. I'm not spending all summer debating it.
I completely agree. I mean, this is pretty much what I was just saying. Just some sort of effect, you know. Why sell him this summer when we hold the cards with 3 years left in his contract? When, you know, I don't think he's going to kick up us to leave. Yes, he might kind of unintentionally down tools, but even if he unintentionally downs tools, he's probably still our best player. Yeah. So, I mean, look, like I keep saying, why sell him for 120 million or 100 million this summer when you can get exactly the same money next summer?
All right. Super chat, go on.
Super chat here from Nero saying, to keep Kane happy, we need to get Conte, Skriniar, Koulibaly, Sancho, Bellingham and Kimmich.
Bloody hell. Yeah, good one. All right. Let's shall we just see what the Supporters Trust had to say?
Yeah,
because the Supporters Trust did finally release their meeting they had with Tottenham on Tuesday before the Villa game. People are very interested to see how that meeting turned out, because obviously there was a lot of talk about the Supporters Trust rejecting a meeting initially, then saying they'll only have a meeting with a mediator because they can't trust what the board is saying. However, the meeting went ahead without an independent mediator, and
so they bent over backwards yet again.
It was attended by Daniel Levy, Donna Cullen, Jonathan Turner, Levy Harris, and was also attended by Martin Cloak, Katrina Law, Peter Hain, Rob White, and Stephen Cavalier. So that was the meeting.
Just before you get into it, let me just read out this super chat from Ruari Woods saying, massive fan of the channel, fellas. Very difficult putting out regular content during this season. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ruari. Appreciate that, mate. So, first of all, the first port of call was the club advisory panel. So that was what Supporters Trust wanted to discuss first. They wanted to know what entails, how it's going to be... how it's going to be selected and all this kind of stuff. They want to know more information, but basically, Supporters Trust asked the club to expand on their plans for the club advisory panel, and what the club is. They said the club is currently basically said the fan non-executive director will have full voting rights on all board issues at the club and would be appointed annually by the panel. That person would have to be agreed by the club board as someone who met the criteria for being a director at an enterprise such as Tottenham. So the club, so the basically the panel will appoint someone and the club have to approve that appointment even after they've been elected. The same person could stand for election as on the club advisory panel chair in consecutive years. The role would be remunerated with donations to a charity of their choice plus expenses. They also said the club advisory panel would be advisory. The terms of the discussions with the Super League would have prevented discussing that proposal with the club advisory panel, but the non-executive director were fully aware of those discussions. And it says...
So we're saying, what did they say about the Super League? So they wouldn't have been involved in the conversations for that?
Yeah, basically, I think. The terms of discussions with the Super League would have prevented discussing that proposal with the club advisory panel. But right. the non-executive director would have been aware of those discussions. So
they would have known about the discussions.
Only the director
have been involved in
the panel wouldn't have been aware. Just the director would have been aware. They wanted. Also, it says THSC said that it wanted the club advisory panel to be as representative of the diverse fan base as possible, and that had been looking at structures currently in place at other clubs. The fan view would be funneled through the chair of the panel to the club board, with the advisory panel chair appointed as non-executive director on the board. So it's interesting to read that, because Levy, in his the programme notes statement, said that the club representative would be a first for a club in the Premier League. And yet he said, when talking about how to move forward with this advisory panel, he says they're looking at other clubs to see how to move forward, how to structure it. So
contradiction,
it's like,
much, Daniel?
Kind of a contradiction there. The supporters trust asked the club why it was bringing these proposals forward now, and whether it acknowledged that there would be widespread scepticism about its commitment to fan engagement at board level. The club said that sometimes disruption was needed to create change, and that it was seeking to create a better framework for the future. The only way people would be convinced that the framework was working was to see it working successfully, and that was the responsibility we all carried. I think that's partly true. I think no one's going to trust him, and it's a kind of believe it when we see it kind of thing. No one's going to trust it, but the whole thing, disruption was needed to create change. Well, you created the disruption. But yeah, it's true. At least change is coming, which is great.
Well, supposedly.
The club said it was approaching the exercise from a positive perspective and wanted to achieve a framework that set the standard, while recognising that the report from the government fan-led review would set the baseline. Going on to the fan-led review, the trust asked the Spurs their thoughts on it. Tottenham said they would be very engaged if asked to give any advice. It stressed the importance of sustainable business practice being a key consideration. Of course they did. The club also said it was open-minded on the issue of an independent regulator, and that areas of regulation needed more definition. There did not, for example, appear to be a need for the rules of the game to be regulated, but in other areas it was perhaps evident that the game could not regulate itself. So they're not. It doesn't seem they're very keen on regulation, to be honest. But at least they say they're open-minded. I don't know.
It's bullshit. It's all nonsense. This statement.
The share ownership scheme. The trust asked to comment on the trust suggestion to consider equity release scheme. The club's view was that there are already 30,000 shareholders at Tottenham, and there is a brisk trade in those shares each month. The possibility of new equity is complicated because of the process needed to undertake it, and the need to be convinced the funds raised would be significant. So then it doesn't sound like they're very interested in forwarding that.
It doesn't really seem like they're interested in anything, to be honest, that the supporters trust are bringing up.
In regards to the Europa League Super League fines, the European Super League fines, asked to confirm whether the club owners will be taking on any fines from the Super League. The club said its position was that the owners would be responsible for any fines. So that's that, I guess. in terms of Harry Kane, they were asked about the trust asked about rumours that Harry Kane has asked to leave, and the club and Spurs said it's focused on the final 2 games of the season and backing the squad for a strong finish. Well, now it's final 1 game after the loss yesterday. It was not prepared to offer any further comment on Harry Kane or indeed any other player while 2 games of the season remained. That is their only focus. Of course it is. Sounds like Ryan Mason. And then it said it was agreed to reset and restart collaborations around the Tottenham and North Enfield food banks, on mental health awareness initiatives, and on PC UK cycling fundraisers, blah, blah, blah. And then next steps says Sports Trust will keep everyone updated on more updates on the advisory panel and all that kind of stuff. So basically nothing was really agreed in this.
It's just bullshit statement I've ever heard. I mean, there's literally nothing in that. There's nothing in that whatsoever.
Yeah.
Apart from that, they're going to cover the costs of the ESL, which they bloody well should have done. They should have come out with that ages ago anyway, when it first broke. But I mean, apart from that, what else has been said? Literally nothing. Literally nothing.
The advisory panel hasn't gone forward or anything. As in, we don't really know how it's going to work still. They're still yet to decide that. And other than that, there's not much in it. Not much in the meeting, so it doesn't seem like the meeting did much, but hopefully future discussions can bring out more, but I don't know. At the moment, doesn't seem like there's much.
Have we heard anything from the Supporters Trust on what they think of this meeting?
No, it's just they just said at the end on the next steps. They just said in the coming weeks, the Sports Trust will be setting out in more detail our ideas about how the future advisory panel structure could work, and we will be explaining our views. We welcome comments and ideas from our members. We will also continue to discuss the detail with the club without running commentary. Once there is a framework proposal to make an informed judgment, we will consult fully our members, and we are committed to achieving a robust structure that would avoid a situation like the Super League arising in the future. While these discussions progress, we are conscious that many people will have priorities they feel should be taken into account. We would ask for your trust and support that we are seeking a solution that generally does deliver a real voice for fans in the boardroom, and which increases the influence of ordinary fans on the direction of the football club. There will be no secret deals and no decisions taken by us without seeking the agreement of our members. And that's it. That's it.
All right. Any more tweets to get through?
Yeah, plenty tweets. Luca Warwicker says, what players can you expect to leave? Performance last night just showed that the state of our club at this rate, we won't even get Europa Conference. Well, I don't want Europa Conference. I'd rather be out of Europe completely than be in this Europa Conference.
Finish below Arsenal?
No, we can finish 8th and Arsenal 9th. I'd rather that.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully Graham Potter can do us a favour this weekend. Because
exactly. If you've got any chance
how
of
many
being
points are we
Spurs
above
manager,
them?
1.
So if they draw and we lose...
as long as they don't win, we're fine.
Yeah.
If they draw and we lose, we're fine because our goal difference is much better.
Mm-hmm.
So all we need is Arsenal not to win. And you know what? Brighton could easily get a result.
Yeah, I agree.
They could.
How embarrassing is it even to finish on the same points as Arsenal this season?
It is embarrassing. It is absolutely
embarrassing. I mean, they have been in disarray the whole season. We've been in kind of on and off disarray the whole season.
Yeah.
We were top of the league in bloody December, January.
WeAreTottenhamTV, I am still adamant until we get any direction or communication from the board. I don't want a manager or players to come in. There's no point. Waste of time. I'm totally disillusioned with all things Spurs right now. Need of an identity. Big up, lads.
Yeah, look, I kind of agree, but that's not the way it's going to play out, is it? Because we're going to have a manager probably in the next couple of weeks, so we'll have to wait and see who it is. But shall we get into what The Athletic have been saying?
Yeah, so let's get that up. The Athletic. So Jack Pitbrook has written an article this morning on the current Tottenham situation, the manager situation. Where is it? Let's get this up. Is it not here? Doesn't seem to be on the app. Oh no, here it is. Yeah. So Jack Pitbrook is saying that there are currently 4 candidates in the running for the job. He says those 4 candidates are Erik ten Hag, Ralph Rangnick, Roberto Martinez and Graham Potter. Although other candidates could emerge, whoever gets it will be taking on a huge job trying to reverse a slow slide that has now lasted since the peak of the Pochettino era 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
He goes on to say that that Ten Hag, Rangnick and Martinez are the 3 leading candidates, with Potter being an outside shot at the moment.
Don't want Martinez. Rangnick is not a manager.
And then who's the other one?
Ten Hag.
Ten Hag, who's already just signed a contract. So that is what he is reporting on the manager situation. Haven't read the whole article. I've just read that snippet. But he is saying Tottenham are broken. Can Daniel Levy find the right manager to put them back together? We are definitely broken at the moment. Every aspect of the club, we're broken at the moment, and that's the hardest thing. Without our strength in the peak Pochettino eras was the togetherness of the club and how everyone's fighting for each other, everyone's on the same page, and it really felt like there was a belief and an identity about us, and that has just been ripped out of us. It's just completely gone, and it's all down to the hierarchy. That's how it's happened. It's all down to the hierarchy, because if they would have listened to Pochettino at the peak when we were at our strongest, that's when they really should have listened to him. Right? You don't listen to him when things start to go bad. You preempt the things going bad, and you try and stop it before it happens.
For the future, man.
Exactly.
He's talking about how many times has he told us, we've got the long-term future of the club at heart. We've got the long-term future of the club at heart. If you had the long-term future of the club at heart, you would have listened to the best manager that you ever employed.
No, but they let it slide away. Pochettino wanted to be here for a long time. If it was up to Poch, he could have been here for a decade.
He wanted to be our Sir Alex Ferguson. That's what he wanted.
Maybe by the end he was frustrated and fed up, and maybe by the end, he didn't want to be there anymore. But at his peak, he said it many times. He looked at Wenger, he looked at Ferguson, and he thought it was an amazing thing what they did, and he wanted to build that here. He wanted to build a legacy. He wanted to be here for like a decade. Like, he was more than happy. Like, there are some managers, for example, like Mourinho, who are very happy to be at a club for 2-3 years, win a lot of stuff, and then move on. For example, when he was at Inter Milan, I've seen him give interviews, Mourinho, where he said, like, sometimes when you're at a football club and you've won some stuff, it's better, even when you're doing well, to move on and try something new, even at your height, because sometimes you can reject big offers and then 6 months later you're sacked anyway, so it's better to move. But Pochettino wasn't like that. Pochettino wanted to be here for a while. They didn't realise what they had, I think, by the end of it, because he wanted to be here for so long. He was happy to keep refreshing the squad and rebuild and create something at Tottenham, but we didn't allow it for him. It's the hierarchy's fault why that fell apart, and they have not taken any responsibility for that at all.
Completely agree. But back on that Athletic article, in terms of those 3 choices, Ten Hag, Rangnick and Martinez,
and an outside sort of Potter.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's got to be one of those managers plus Rangnick. I think Rangnick has to come in as a sporting director. It's also been said that Campos is looking for a job in the Premier League as well.
Yeah, I obviously love Campos, but whether he'll come to Spurs now is another quite like.
I mean, but Campos, in terms of Campos, he's quite famous for bringing in players on a free or very cheap. So it might be up to Levy's liking, that one.
Yeah, it could well be, but then we also had a good one in Paul Mitchell, didn't we? He didn't want to stay too long under Levy. I don't know. It'll be I'd obviously love. I would love to get in Rangnick as a sporting director or Luis Campos, but it's up to Levy to convince him to come, isn't it?
How much of a letdown will Roberto Martinez be, though?
Yeah, I'm not convinced Martinez would do a good job here. I'm really not convinced. And he's
I
never
really
been.
Don't rate him as a manager, man.
He's really yes, he can get his teams playing good football, but he's always had a weak spot at the back, always, and that's something that Pochettino balanced so well: the defensive side of the game and going forward. Like, everyone says, "Oh, what football he played under Pochettino." People always forget. Like, defensively, we were animals. We conceded the least goals in the Premier League. We were always so defensively robust. We always had a very good defensive structure about us when we didn't have the ball. And Martinez, that's something he's always failed at. Even with Belgium, he's failed at that. Even with Belgium. And that's always something that's let him down. And that's ultimately what let him down at Everton. And let's be honest, at Everton, he only had one good season. He was there for 3 years, and he had one good season, and he was out the door.
Where did they finish?
They had one good season when they finished 5th. Where they, to be honest, they bottled top 4 because they were above Arsenal for a time, and then they bottled it. And then the next season they dropped down to like 10th or something, and then the next season he was gone because they completely fell off. So he did a decent job at Wigan, winning the FA Cup, but ultimately they got relegated. And before that he was at Swansea where he did okay, but like never been, even with Belgium, like yes they got to the World Cup semis, but like before that. Before they got to that World Cup semi, they struggled quite badly.
I think he's more suited to a lower team like a Swansea or a Wigan, maybe bigger than that. But I don't think he's suited to a big club, Roberto Martinez.
Look, he can get teams playing attractive football, but not winning football, not football that improves the team, really. And if he does do that, it's only for a very short space of time. He's never done it over a long period of time. So Martinez
I really don't want
him,
man, and I have no idea why he would be on a 3-man shortlist.
Yeah, not for me.
Makes no sense to me.
With Ten Hag, yeah, I mean, obviously he's done very well with Ajax, but they don't seem that bothered about him leaving if he was to leave, so I think that says a lot. I don't know. I've always said my choice is Potter, but my choice is only Potter because he's the best of a bad bunch, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. But like, obviously, if he's not my dream manager, but of all the ones mentioned, he's the one I want.
Martin Yole thinks it's going to be Ten Hag.
Huh?
Martin Yole said he thinks it's going to be Ten Hag.
Yeah, true. Martin Yole says Ten Hag. Cody Mack with a tweet says, Raw burgers, multi-pies, flat beer, upper tier seating, £60, dross football, Kane leaving, Super League, disingenuous apology, Levy statement, supporters just powerless, and still supporters chanting happily in the 84th minute while Tanganga gets stretched off. Cody Mack ain't happy.
He's not happy, and a lot of people are not happy.
Rightly so.
Yeah, look.
Makes a lot of good points there.
He does make a lot of good points. But, a lot of Spurs fans were calling in last night, angry at, that fan that they panned to singing, when the Spurs go marching in. I mean...
I don't remember that. But.
I don't remember it either, but I don't really have a problem with that.
Oh, wow. You see, you can see what he's mouthing. Can you see that? Can you see it on screen? He's definitely mouthing that, right? Probably, yeah. No, 100%. Can you see it? Yeah. 100%. You can see Kane here mouthing, what is the effing point?
I reckon. What was that for?
Definitely.
What was that
I
after?
don't know. There was a point in the game yesterday. That's Kane saying, what is the effing point, man? And that just sums it up, doesn't it? Absolutely.
If Harry Kane is saying that on a football pitch, then...
Absolutely. Simon Stevens says, I'm tired of being told we have to tighten our belts. Stadium costs and the pandemic aren't going to wash with me after 20 years of penny pinching, 18 months without a signing. We were good enough, apparently, despite not ever winning anything at that point.
I hate Spurs. I hate them, man.
Mark MC Connell says, if Martinez is appointed, we are finished as a club. We need Rangnick.
We're finished right now.
We need Rangnick overseeing and mentoring, maybe Potter and Mason. A Potter and Mason double?
Potter, Mason and Parker trio, mate. Anything else coming through? We're running out of time a bit. We've got a couple of minutes left.
Should we see if we can... would it work if we play that video? Should we play our video on Sky Sports News? Where is it?
What? A video of the video?
Yeah. Might be alright.
I'm not sure. But we've got 900 people watching at the moment. 175 likes. Let's get down. Let's smash that like button. Let's smash that subscriber button. It is very hard to bring you these kind of videos after such a distraught season, distraught moments coming. Harry Kane, that moment that you just showed me with Harry Kane, I think it just tells a lot, doesn't it? It just says a lot.
Absolutely. It sums it all up. Kane's given up. He doesn't care anymore. Like, he obviously cares, but he can't. Like, there's only so much he can do. He's only one man, and him saying there's no point anymore says a lot.
But that's how we feel when we're watching the game. What's the fucking point?
Yeah, Harry Kane is all of us. Mickey Evans says, if Harry Kane goes, if there is no European football, will Ndombele go? Will Son go? Bale and Reguilon go back to Madrid? No A-list quality players to sign for Tottenham, definite. Will we become a mid-table team? This will be a very long-term damage, is irreparable.
Yeah, could be. Very well could be. I mean, I don't know when we're next going to be in the Champions League. It literally could be 5-6 years down the line, if that. Who knows? We don't know when we're going to be back as a football club, because at the moment we're only going one way, and that is down and down and down and down.
Oh, it's very depressing.
Here from 2J saying, I know we've gone over this multiple times, but do we have an actual serious reason why Ndombele isn't starting under Mason? No, we don't. No, we don't.
We don't. It's very strange.
And you could see as soon as he came on yesterday, he was clearly above any level.
He did more than anything anyone else did.
He did more. He did more in that 20-minute spurt than Winks has done all season, pretty much.
And here's a picture, apparently, of one of the burgers served up yesterday. Here's your free burger.
At least cook the bloody thing.
Exactly. Probably, maybe he thought he could save on gas bills, not heating up the burgers. Apparently, that's one of the burgers served yesterday. Is their free burger? Absolutely,
it was unlimited food before the game.
Was it unlimited?
Unlimited food before the game, and then at half time, you had to pay. But a lot of people got there late because obviously it was a 6 o'clock kickoff.
See, of course they did it like that. It's like when a cinema gives you free popcorn refills. It's like, who's going to pop out during the film to refill their popcorn?
And some people do.
Some people do. Yeah, right. The true CHM says, guys, Levy put Mason forward so he could pick the starting 11. Such a joke, playing the likes of Dyer and Winks. This club is toxic in and out. I mean, people say this. I don't know. Like, why would Levy want Mason not to play on Ndombele when he spent 55 million on him? So it doesn't make sense that people say Levy wants Winks to play. Why would Levy want
anything to do with Levy? Why Ndombele is not playing? I think
it makes no sense.
I think
makes no sense. Levy would want Ndombele to play, if anything.
Yeah.
So that makes no sense.
I don't know. It just seems as though, obviously he started the first game, Mason, in charge against Southampton, and he put in a bad performance, didn't he, that game? And he just hasn't recovered from it.
Yeah, exactly.
For some sort of reason, I have no idea. He looked really good when he came on yesterday.
He did. He looked sharp, and we actually looked like creating something when he came on. Here is a picture of us on Sky Sports News earlier today. We had a cameo there.
Yeah, and we just got an email from them saying they're going to send over the full interview very soon.
Oh, beautiful! So we'll have that on the channel later on today. So look out for that. I can't wait to show you guys that.
We are Tottenham TV doing up Sky Sports this morning.
Exactly, and I'm very proud that that's how just get it up again. This is on Sky Sports News. Look at all the Enoch Out stuff live on the channel, sending out the message to the masses. So that's how we had it on Sky Sports News, so big up to us, I guess. But yeah, look, it was a good time. I was only on for 5 minutes, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being on, and it was good fun.
It was.
Sports Brother says, who should replace Kane? Belotti, Ings, Andre Silva, Kamada, Jesus, or Martial? Who's Daichi Kamada?
No idea.
Daichi Kamada? I don't know who's Daichi. Let's see.
It's a bait.
Is it?
I don't know.
Daichi. He plays for Frankfurt. Oh, he's this guy who's been killing it for Frankfurt this year. 15. Well, he hasn't been killing it. Only 5 goals this season. But I remember I've heard a lot about him saying he's playing well.
Who's he play for?
Frankfurt.
Oh, right, that guy. Okay.
But doesn't sound. He's a tall. He's a tall striker. Oh no, midfielder. I thought he was a striker. I've heard about him, but why would he be replacing Kane then? I don't know. Belotti, could we get Belotti be back in for him?
Belotti, yeah, he's getting on a bit though, isn't he?
Maybe 28. Still a good striker though.
Oh, he's 27. I thought 27? He was older than that.
He's still
we were in for him last summer, weren't we?
We were, but we only offered a loan deal.
and Torino went. Did they go down?
I think they're struggling again, aren't they? I don't know if they actually went down. Did they go down?
I'm going to check now where they are in the league. I mean, there's still a game to play, I think, in Italy.
There's one more game.
Yeah, they can't go down though.
They're
can't
17th.
Go down.
They're 17th, but he'll be going to the Euros.
They're 4
I'm
points.
sure.
They're 4 points outside the relegation, so it's impossible for them to go down now.
You know what I'm sick of? Just like
Spurs.
Okay, the Spurs.
Daniel
like,
Levy.
That as well. But like just shots of Harry Kane throughout his Spurs career, just always looking disappointed. You know what I mean? Like throughout his Spurs career, like obviously he's had highs, but like every time there's like there's like a big game for Tottenham or like a chance to win something or anything, it's always him, just always the shot of him just looking disappointed.
I think the happiest I've ever seen him look is when he scored that goal to send us top of the league at White Hart Lane against Arsenal.
Yeah.
That's probably the happiest I've ever seen him. And
every other time
didn't even win that game.
Like every time we lose a game, it's always just panning to Kane looking disappointed. Champions League final, disappointed. Like any final we ever in, just Kane disappointed. I just feel so sorry for him that he always ends up disappointed. Like I never see any like shots of like Aguero looking disappointed. You know what I mean? It's always just Kane looking disappointed. I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's always just him being disappointed. Just feel so bad for him.
I got a super chat here from David Sankvist saying, no reason to sell Kane under price. Mad respect from Finland to you guys. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, David. Much appreciated. And yeah, I completely agree. That's what I've been saying pretty much all morning. There is no reason to sell him underpriced. Michael Donker says, Eric Ten Hag and Ragnick. And I might agree with that one.
Who's this? Style my bedroom says, boys, what do you think? Out of the box, Kane to Madrid in exchange for Ramos, Varane and Benzema. Potentially Zidane as manager, as he's off to sort out defence, Kane replacement, new manager. That would be good for maybe a year, maybe 6 months, and then it'll all fall apart because Ramos is old and he probably can't be asked for Tottenham. Varane would be the best one, and then Benzema would be good for a year.
In what world is Ramos, Varane and Benzema coming here?
No chance. No chance. It wouldn't even be a good deal, I don't think.
Well, Varane is...
Varane's class, but like those three for Kane and Zidane, like... That would completely
Zidane
flop
with Zidane
with Zidane as
Forget
manager.
Zidane, man.
They would completely flop that.
Zidane would flop at Spurs for sure.
Srikanth498 says current Southampton manager Ralph will do a better job than Potter or Parker. Better consider him as an option. Hasenhüttl. I don't mind Hasenhüttl, but I don't know. I prefer Potter than.
Do you think if Hasenhüttl comes in, we lose 9-0?
Probably.
To Man City, with Kane.
Yeah, with Kane scoring a hat-trick, 100%.
Kane scoring all 9.
Plucky Chicken says, Tammy Abraham as a striker for the next season, maybe Zaha over Grealish. They're not miles apart in quality, and Zaha's more ENIC-friendly price.
What's that about Tammy Abraham?
Signed Tammy Abraham as a striker.
As a replacement for Kane?
Guess so.
No chance, mate. I don't really rate Tammy Abraham that highly.
Nah. I wouldn't mind him as a backup striker. But I definitely wouldn't want him starting every week for us. He'll frustrate everyone.
Benteke or Abraham as a backup striker? I
think Abraham, but I quite like Benteke as well. I guess scored another goal yesterday. Zaha's a more ENIC-friendly price than Grealish, that's for sure, but Grealish is a better player.
Yeah.
All right. I think
that is everything.
That's all the tweets for now.
All right, so I think that is it for today. I think that is all we have time for. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. Thank you all for your super chats, for your tweets, and just genuinely being involved in supporting the channel. It really means a lot to us. We'll be uploading player ratings, the 5 takeaways, and our interview on Sky Sports this morning onto the channel today. Thank you again to everyone tuning in with us today. Remember the message of ENIC out. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.